Now, I'm not really a big sports fan, and golf comes in at probably one of the sports I know the least about. So I was slightly unaware of how big this tournament was. I wasn't even sure that it was part of the PGA Tour before going. Spoiler alert, it is. I do know what a PGA Tour is and who Arnold Palmer is and, the basics of golf. I mean, living in Florida, the golf capital of the world, most of my life, I think it would be shocking, even for my low golf standard, to not know some basics. So I did have that going for me, but otherwise I really knew nothing. Yeah, so I went because I wanted to learn more about it all and experience something I've heard about pretty much my whole life. And you know what? I think it was worth it. My first impressions are, wow, parking is expensive. But also, wow, these grounds are beautiful with the lakes, the trees, the green hills, and lots of nature sounds. Getting around the grounds was very easy with nice, well-marked paths. However, it's huge. I think walking the course was around 4 miles, but it was like walking in a very nice park. And stopping along the way to catch a swing or a putt was par for the course. Of course, standing at one hole, is that what it's called? Like the whole golfing field for one hole. Does that have a name? A fairway, maybe? Well, that was normal too. The atmosphere, the layout of the course, and the energy of the crowd was unlike any sporting event I'd ever been to. There were rules, but no one minded. It was very chill, aside from some drunks, but also super respectful and kind. Everyone really wanted all of the players to do their best. They cheered loudly when they did good and felt the pain when they did bad, or just kept supporting and rooting for them to succeed next time. And there wasn't any rivalry between fans because everyone was pretty much on the same team, just hoping to get a glimpse of the best players in the world perform their craft and wishing the best for all of them. So what did I learn? Well, obviously that it's one of the premier events on the PGA Tour, which, if you don't know, is the main professional golf circuit in the United States. It features top golfers from all around the world. We saw golfers from Australia, I think Fiji, some Asian countries, some Europe countries, and others from North America, obviously. I think there were close to 30 countries there. We were also able to see the number 1 in the world, Scotty Scheffler, and the number 3 in the world, Rory McIlroy, which he was number 2, so I don't know what happened there. I also learned that Arnold Palmer Invitational is one of the smaller events on the tour with around 70 to 80 top pros only. So fewer players meant tougher competition because you're only facing the best of the best with no room for error. Like this person who hit the golf ball right into this guy's chair while he was sitting in it. It was kind of funny. I knew aspiring professionals in golf often start very young, but I never really thought about it, what their life is like. But they start competing in youth or amateur events, and then they progress through qualifying schools, and then they have to excel in lower tier tours before earning their PGA Tour card, which, by the way, is not easy to hold on to. I didn't realize, but you can get kicked out pretty easily. It's incredibly challenging and requires a consistent high-level performance all the time, especially if you're not an elite top 25 player. You're basically constantly fighting. The PGA Tour is like riding a roller coaster. You might be up one season, but one rough patch, and that can send you back to fighting for your spot again. Come on, Rory. You already lost number 2. Let's not get any further down the rankings. So holding on to your tour card for 5+ years, that is a serious accomplishment. Although there are some helpful ways that you can do that, as I'll mention in a little bit. But unless you make it to the top and can earn back your loss, golf is also costing quite a bit of money.
Past champion of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, presented by MasterCard. Please welcome Rory McIlroy.
It's a very expensive sport, and some players are spending well over $100,000 a year just to have a shot at making it. It's wild to think that before they're even earning money from the tour, they're basically betting on themselves, which I guess really gives them each an incentive to work really hard and keep going, because if they stop, they risk a lot. Their youth, time, money, their mentality. It's a very mental sport, possibly injury, and their career. So they practice nonstop, which we witnessed there at the tour as well. They were always working on their putt. They were always working on their shots. So I also didn't know that golfers entering the PGA Tour have to pay to play. And while many players entering the PGA Tour, not all of them make money from it, and certainly not as much as it costs to get there. As I mentioned, it's a lot. So if they get cut, they don't earn anything, aside from sponsors, of course, if they get sponsored for something. And I always wondered why the sport was so strict and serious when a lot of other sports play up the fun, you know? It's not just a fun day of golfing and competition for these guys, though. And I guess I got a little bit more insight into that, too. So other than tradition, there is a lot on the line. First, qualifying for the PGA Tour is intense, and it's often a battle of skill between certain players to win spots. Once they're in, they have to keep their score up so they don't get cut and can make some of their money back. The winner of the Invitational wins $4 million if it's not a tie, and a potential exemption on maintaining their tour card for a couple of years. So as I said, sometimes you get little breaks, and that's one of them. If you are at a certain ranking and you've won certain tournaments, you will get an exemption for having to maintain your score for like a couple of years. So that's how some players can have 10 plus years as with their tour card, like Tiger Woods, for example. So it's not just two teams battling it out like a normal sport to just see who will win this year without too much concern about making money, because they've already got contracts and things. This is an individual against 125 other individuals fighting for another chance to play next year. So it's a concentrated, high-stakes work day for them, and not only to earn a paycheck, but to stay in the game, which is why they have to take it so seriously. By the way, why Arnold Palmer? Apparently, he was more than just a golfer and a cool summer drink. He owned the Bay Hill Club and Lodge and was known popularizing golf. That's a hard thing to say. My big question of the day was, why the umbrella? And the only answer I got was that he was known for being an everyman's man, and the umbrella symbolized something bold, simple, and memorable that everyone knows and could use. My only spectator tip, if I had to give one, was that getting ahead of the crowds seemed to have the best experience for us, especially for popular high-ranked players. There were massive crowds that followed them, and so we went a few holes ahead and got pretty good viewing spots and watched a few other golfers, so that by the time the big names and the big crowds got there, we had a good view most of the time. Also, be prepared to spend $18 on a hot dog and a drink, because they do not let you bring any food or drinks inside. But overall, it was a true pleasure to have the opportunity to go and see what it's all about. While getting up close with some of the best golfers in the world, it was interesting. They were very good, how they could hit their shots, how they can chip them and turn them, and I don't know all the words, but they knew what they were doing, okay? They perfected it since they were children. Most of all, I got to spend a day with loved ones doing something active, fun, and new. As far as sports go, how could I not enjoy a sport that is basically a hike through nature all day? I mean, that is my number one favorite activity. Not to mention, I got real lucky to get to go during a high-pressure system, which offered an amazingly beautiful, cool, sunny, perfectly balanced, windy day. For me, obviously, not the golfers, because the wind was a bit of a challenge, as you saw. Well, anyway, will I become a diehard golf fan now? Probably not. But apparently there is a Netflix series that peeks behind the scenes some and gives a bit of a personal insight into some of the players, so that might be worth checking out. But anyway, thanks for hanging out. Have you ever been to a PGA Tour? Which one? What do you think? Did you enjoy it? Do you agree with what I said? Do you have any other suggestions for me? All right, we'll talk soon. Bye.